tip.
Good afternoon. It's December 9th, 2024. You're listening to a little column A, little column B, hosted by Will Lemanos and co-hosted by Zach Bishop. How are you doing today, buddy?
What is going on, Will? What an amazing weekend. I mentioned it last week. We didn't lose. Patriots had a bye. You just don't lose when your team doesn't play and they're bad. It's just a nice little relaxing, weekend. You just watch the other teams play, you watch your fantasy teams play, playoffs are right around the corner, and you just don't have to deal with, wait, how did the same offensive lineman get 3 holding penalties in the same quarter? How did we, again, almost win and then just couldn't quite do it? And then you just have to have one little silver lining of Drake May, and we'll get Drake May again this week. But it was nice. Didn't have to deal with a loss, an infuriating loss. And, I enjoyed it. Did you enjoy your weekend?
I did enjoy my weekend. I am not enjoying football quite as much as you. These bye weeks that you're describing are great maybe in reality, but I'm caring far more about my fantasy team. And unfortunately, it's looking like I got a couple bye weeks coming my way that aren't the good ones. Like my season's toast. I'm over in all these fantasy leagues. It's really sad. I was kind of the league's punching bag this year. I made a joke with you yesterday. I was like the league's best sparring partner. I think I put up like 170 points and lost by like 5-6 times this year. Unreal. Unbecoming. I'm so over fantasy at this point. This is the point where I'm ready to say like, no, I need to quit like 3 leagues next year. Just focus on one. I'm too spread out. I'm not ready for bye weeks is what I'm saying though. I need more football and more practice, but my weeks aren't going to be counting going forward. Just pretty much like the Patriots, but I don't have the upside of saying I have Drake May on my team. How do I fix that?
You're going to have to draft him next year.
Maybe that's what I'm missing. I did dodge a ton of Patriots this year. Did you have any interest in drafting them this year? There's no traction, right?
No, not a single one. What about coming into this year and said, yes, this guy is probably going to put up points? I mean, we had Jacoby out there for a third of the season.
Literally just punting on offense.
No, that was you know what? The only one Laporta did not live up to the expectations at all, and in one league I ended up picking up Hunter Henry, and he way outperformed Laporta, which I don't think anybody had pegged at the beginning of this year.
Fantasy frustrations. It's coming. The playoffs are here. You seem to be having a little bit more success than me. Are you going to be starting Drake May for a playoff game? Is that Mr. Patriots?
No.
Oh, all right.
No. I'm looking to win.
Jeez, no faith.
He's fine. He's got some some silver linings, but there's no help around him, and every time he's just getting shellacked. At some point, he's going to end up getting hurt if it continues this way. So no, I don't. There's no need for me to double down and try to get cute and have him start on my fantasy team.
My God, are you even Zach? Who am I talking to? This is unheard of. I can't believe. Tell me how you really feel. This is reality.
I'm trying to win. I'm trying to win championships over here.
Well, you're doing a pretty good job with these weekly picks. You continue to just match me or just stay a pick or two away. So I'm not going to catch up. I don't think it's possible. I think I need to just tank an entire week, and maybe I'll have some chances. But we continue on. We'll
this
start.
might be the week.
You think
this
so?
Is a weird week.
Well,
this might be the week. I don't know.
We have no bye weeks this week, so every team's playing, and maybe that'll give me even more chances to fall even farther behind. But Nate continues to dominate. I don't want to talk about that anymore because we got a lot of other things to get to. We got other college tournaments to talk about, football specifically. We have an NBA Cup that's not soccer. So we got to get through these picks. Let's get started on Thursday here. Los Angeles Rams at the San Francisco 49ers. This is a different team. I think this is a team that we thought the Rams were going to be for most of the year, especially once Puka and Cooper Kupp came back. An offensive explosion. And if there isn't a blocked punt or kick or whatever it was for a return for a touchdown, they probably lose this game. But I think this is a hot team coming into this week. I completely whiffed on the Bears-San Francisco game. Mr. Chicago over here did not come up big. San Francisco continues to dominate. I don't think we could have been more wrong about the Chicago thing. I don't think I could have been more wrong. I won't put any of that blame on you. That thing was a smackdown from the
I also
get-go.
picked the Bears. Yeah, I also picked the Bears, and yeah, when they're down 24 zip at the half, and it was even before that. I think it was when they went up by the third touchdown. And I messaged you said, yeah, so I was wrong on this one. This was a mistake. Probably got a little too cute. Yeah, man, just San Fran just destroyed him.
Is it just as simple as a plug and play for that offense? Like, does it really not matter who the running back is?
And even he got hurt. I mean, he scored and then he got hurt, but sounds like he went to the locker room. What it sounds like is that he's going to be okay. But I'm not holding my breath there. But man, just every running back, what is going on over there?
You're going to be learning a lot of new names. Some of these teams are just ridiculous. The teammate names you got to keep track of. I mean, some of these teams are going to be going on to like their fourth or fifth quarterback this year. I don't even know what running back they're on at this point for the Niners. But who you got in this game here? I mean, we kind of got two hot teams.
If the new guy doesn't play, they're going to be on their fourth.
It's still like one of the better running offenses in the league, and it's not even close.
I don't get it. I don't know. I think they were more lucky that they were playing the Bears at home than anything else. But I agree with your first assessment saying this was the Rams team we were thinking we were going to see at the beginning of the year. And if you are Josh Allen, you have to be real frustrated. You put up an amazing game, lots of points. You put 42 points and you can't win. Like, can a defense do anything? And then the end of the game, for sure. This comes back to our should the Patriots have gone for a Hail Mary or the longest field goal of all time? Similarly, on probably wasn't going to do anything, but it's going to be a punt. You're going to be able to return the punt, but that's about it. I'm surprised that they even kicked it, keeping it in bounds. I figured you try to kick it out of bounds as time expires. They only have 9 guys on the field, so they don't go all out to try to block it to try to win, and they don't have enough guys to try to return it, and do the do the laterals or come up with something. Like, how do you miss 2 guys? I mean, even 1 guy. Yeah, that's embarrassing. That gives me concern because that's something that happens to a not good football team. That doesn't happen to the Patriots back in the day. They don't accidentally not have a plan for that exact situation.
All right, but this team isn't the Patriots, and this team, I don't think it's fair to just lash out on such a mistake on a play that they had a .000 whatever chance of even having happen. Like, it's sure, absolutely a screw up. Can't argue that. But like, this isn't the game changing opportunity. It was definitely a missed opportunity. But if they get it one stop, if they don't get a punt blocked earlier in the game, they win the game. That was
True.
it. They scored on every other possession.
True.
Both these teams pretty much scored every time they got the ball. If the one stop is the 1-2 point difference here, that's it. So I'm not gonna look. It's a mistake. We can capitalize on that. And had they completed all that, then you would have been like, I don't know how the Rams allowed this play that should have never happened. And it's definitely embarrassing having not the right number on there. All right, it shouldn't happen in professional.
It's 2 special teams gas in the same game in a 1-score game, and I'm just saying, if you are the Bills, you have Super Bowl aspirations. You need to do everything right. Like, the margin of error is not very big. You're gonna have to go against the Chiefs at some point, and they keep, we'll get to them, but they keep just finding a way to do it. And I just think, you got to be pretty close to flawless. And here were 2, I think, correctable mistakes, and that the elite teams just do not make these mistakes.
All right. Well, they're not playing in this matchup so far. We'll get to Buffalo, but we got LA at San Francisco, both coming off a pretty hot week here. Who's saying hot this week? Who's getting a win streak?
I'm going to go with the Rams on the road. I liked what I saw from the Rams. Like I said, they went and just scored like so many points. And I think San Fran's win has way more to do with the Bears, where the Rams beat an actually good team. I know they're going to be going on the road, but Thursday night, the 49ers are still banged up. And so I'm going to get crazy. I'm going to go with the Rams.
I don't think it's crazy. I went with the Rams, and it was more of what's easier to convince yourself of what is true. Are the Rams what we saw last week, or are the Niners what we saw last week? And the Niners aren't even the same team that they were last week. This guy might be hurt at the Grendo at running back. So let's just pile on, and it's a season of hell for San Francisco. And it was nice to get a win and beat up the Bears. That's kind of something that they're not that low, but I don't think they're high enough to really compete with the Rams. I hope they see a good game out of this. It would be fun on Thursday. Thursday games generally are duds. I hope this is a great game. This is a potential for a great game. If we see the 2 teams that scored last week score again on Thursday football's back. I'll say it. No, it's never been back. It's never been a thing, but at least we got an opportunity for one this week. All right, both going with the road team there. Sunday, Kansas City Chiefs at the Cleveland Browns. I mean, is there anything that Kansas City could do to lose a game? I mean, it's just we're going to keep it so close for so long, and this is how little of opportunities we need. We need the play that you just mentioned that Buffalo blew out, and that's all they ever need. Down to the wire, doesn't matter. Kansas City finds a way to win a game again. I don't know what to say about Cleveland other than, like, Jameis is probably a really awesome teammate. I don't know how. Well, what other nice things did you say about Cleveland? That's it. I got
Yeah, that's it.
I got KC in this one. We could talk some of the drama of that game. I mean, are you even shocked? We said at the end of that game, it was like never a doubt, right? We always knew Kansas City was going to win that game.
It's just how every time I don't know what could get more wild. Like their list of how they've won games. They block a field goal. Like how does a field goal get blocked, let alone the game winning one? Then this one, they're the ones. They played the time great, awesome, and then he doinks it in. Like how? How does he do this? How does this keep happening? You just can't. You can't go against Mahomes, I guess.
I think this is one of those things where it's like the first draft of a good story where they didn't cut anything. It's like, no. And then this will happen. And then that'll happen. And then it's like every single game is just like the maxed out story. It has so much extra drama that you would never need. And it's just every week piles out again, just at the end. It just, I would always watch the last 2 minutes of every Kansas City game. And it won't matter who they're playing either, apparently. It'd be Carolina, be the Chargers, be Cleveland this week. I mean, this game's going to come down to the last 2 minutes, and they're going to find a way to win.
And you have to give Mahomes and Kelsey credit because they're the ones that made the play just beforehand to get them. I'm going to call it a not a for sure thing because it did doink in, but went from all right, we're not sure if we're in field goal range to okay, there's a chip shot. We're going to win the game now. Did what those guys do to get them in that position.
All right, we both got Kansas City there. Moving on, Cincinnati Bengals at the Tennessee Titans. Cincinnati playing Monday Night Football versus Dallas tonight. So we'll get some more updates on that. I'm expecting a ton of points in that one, which is something Tennessee just can't do. And even against Jacksonville. The one thing I'll say is I thought Jacksonville looked like a team that got better. The Tennessee Titans, how many weeks are we going to see before it's like, hey, maybe this team's getting a little bit better? I mean, that Levis touch pass interception into the end zone. I mean, talk about not having touch. Like that was just an awful interception. I got Cincinnati in this one. What are you expecting for them tonight against Dallas?
I think it's going to be ugly. I don't know who's going to win. I have to imagine Cincinnati has been good at scoring points, and Dallas doesn't have, still doesn't have Dak. They've lost to some bad teams though already. So I wouldn't. I'm not gonna be shocked. Would you be shocked if Dallas puts up, 38 points and the Bengals score 34, where Burrow is cooking, but the defense just has no fight, has no stops in them?
The only thing that would shock me is if they didn't score against Dallas. I won't be shocked if they lose, but if they don't light up Dallas, that defense it's just ready for Joe Burrow to light up. And the same thing with Tennessee here. Joe Burrow's gonna light up Tennessee and Dallas. He's going to be like a fantasy MVP without winning. He's going to be so under 500. He's going to be I don't even know what to compare that. Is that like the Derek Carr stat? I don't know what crown to give him.
I don't know, but I'm going to go with the Bengals. I got a rule that I have the Cardinals rule. I think this might be my for the Titans rule. It's like if you lose the Jaguars the week before, you can't get picked to beat some other team. Like 10-6.
Yeah.
I said coming in, it's like, this is going to be an ugly game. This is not going to be on red zone very often. And I was correct there. Ugh, ugly.
10-6 being kind of a one possession game most of the game is just miserable. It was awful. All right, next game, Washington Commanders at the New Orleans Saints. Washington coming off a bye. New Orleans coming off a victory against the Giants. Another ugly win. Looks like we're not going to have Derek Carr. I mean, this could get really ugly for New Orleans as they just continue to have more injuries and struggles with the quarterback position. And I don't think it's going to get any better. I kind of hope Washington gets right this week and just comes out and takes care of business. But this is kind of a vulnerable team against another vulnerable team at this point in the season. And I mean, what's New Orleans got to do to get the win here? Is there any chance at all?
I mean, you're going against a rookie quarterback, so maybe. But the Saints, they've just been so injured all year. And here's another one: Derek Carr. Was it fractured hand, done for the year? And so now you got to go with either Hayner or Spencer Radler. Either one of those. I mean, you're already throwing Derek Carr out there, and it's not like he's been setting the world on fire except for those first 2 weeks. So I think if the Commanders want to show, hey, we're a for real team, you go in as we're getting into December. It's getting to be real serious time. The playoffs are not that far away, and you take care of a bad team at their place.
That's what an 8-5 team would do. It's up to you to decide whether or not this is a real, authentic 8-5 Washington Commanders team. And I'm not saying they're going to sink as low as losing to New Orleans, but there's no way this game is a lock, even if a normal 8-5 team would be a lock. I'm still going to go with them, but this will be tight. I wouldn't want to bet on this game. I wouldn't want to bet on that team. This could be anybody's game, I think. Who you got?
Yeah, I'm going with the Commanders.
All right, next game, Baltimore Ravens at the New York Giants. I mean, just good luck, New York. I mean, what are we doing here? I don't care what happened last week. I don't care what happened the last 10 years, basically, of these two teams. It's Baltimore. It's what are the Giants doing out here? I mean, did they try a little bit harder? Did neighbors tell everyone, hey, good job today? Like, that, does it matter? New York's such a mess. What a disaster. And that's they're
then you got Saquon setting the record for your rival at the same time that your team is just awful. And not even the team is bad. It's just like everything. You're on national TV. We've talked about this. You give away one of your best players. A couple years ago, you could have paid him. You decided to pay Daniel Jones, a guy that you ended up waiving off of your team. So it's not even just the football stuff on the field. It's the football stuff off the field. And the only thing you have to look forward to is, well, I guess we're going to get another high draft pick. I guess we can look at new quarterbacks. And maybe you compare that with Neighbors. He showed flashes at the beginning of the year. I think it's died off. I'm not going to blame him all the way because with those quarterbacks, what was he supposed to do?
You know, he was really good until he got like a couple concussions. And I'll be honest, by that point of the season, it was, dude, don't even kill yourself for this team. Like, seriously, I know that's terrible, but just stay healthy, get your money, and sign a contract next year. Like, just, you're going to be good. He's going to be in the league for a while. The problems of this team, it's not going to matter how good he is. They got bigger problems than just Neighbors. All right, we both got Baltimore. Don't need to spend any more time on that.
Nope.
Next game, Dallas Cowboys at the Carolina Panthers. At least, well, actually, why don't we just start with that right now? You said that the Giants don't have a quarterback really going into next year. Do the Panthers have one? Have you seen enough of Bryce to want to see more of Bryce?
I think you gotta give him another year. I think it's a weird way that it happened. With the Red Rocket getting in a car accident. Luckily him and his family everything are okay. But it wasn't. It's so weird because it's not some sort of, everybody in the building believed in you, Bryce, and you're just showing the outsiders. Like, no, the people in the building didn't believe in you. You are not going to play again. And then this freak injury freak accident happens, and now he's back in, and now he's showing them what they got. But he's being competitive, and he definitely looks a lot better than he looked at the beginning of the year.
He looks like he was worth his draft pick. That's as far as I'll go. I think he's been worth the draft pick. I've seen enough of that, and I would like to see a little bit more. I also think that even if he ends up being amateur or not spectacular, there's no way this team's going to be ready to win next year, so you're almost better off kind of having a taken quarterback, and sounds like that's Bryce Young right now. I mean, he either gets better or you have the perfect taken quarterback for next year. So I think you got to roll with him. And maybe he gets better. He has been better. The whole team's been better. And this is another team that has actually improved throughout the year. Like, you should get better. Dallas, we'll see tonight in the shootout against Cincinnati. I imagine this will continue to be a shootout. I would love to see Carolina win this game, which is the only reason I'm picking them. I just want to see Carolina win this game. They have no incentive to win. If anything, this is terrible for the tanking thing I just argued. But don't you think they want to beat Dallas? And don't you think this is like a sneaky enough competitive team? Just get a very vulnerable Dallas team whose season's pretty much going to be over?
I think this has tank written all over it, and I think it's going to be close, and then down the stretch, just something's going to happen, and Dallas is going to pull it out. I think this is a tank. Big letters all over it.
Like they're going to block the extra point kind of thing? Like they let them through?
I think you should just be aware, and I think something goofy is going to happen down the stretch.
I think the goofy thing is that Carolina is just going to be a better football team, and that Dallas is going to think that they have this game locked in and be shocked of how improved Carolina is. I did this with the Bears last week, so I don't really want to like double down and be like, yeah, grab your money. Let's go. Casino time. Just want to see Dallas struggle a little bit. Very much like this next team.
Oh, I think you'll get to see him struggle.
Very much like this next team. The New York Jets at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mac attack. Man, it's so rough. He's so inaccurate. That was some awful interception. That thing skyrocketed like 20 feet over his receiver right to the defense. Just, I don't know. Maybe Tank is the back over there. I don't know what you're supposed to be excited about if you're Jacksonville either. But if you are New York, I mean, Could there be any more punishing way to lose all these games? I mean, you can't even look people in the eye and be like, no, we definitely weren't trying that game. Like, you could act like we weren't, but you know they were absolutely trying in this game, and they still lost to the Miami Dolphins. A very satisfying loss. I continue to laugh at all the Jets fans. It's going to come back around and haunt me. I know. I'm enjoying it way, way too much. I think they're going to lose another game. I think Rodgers is even going to play this week. I think Jacksonville will play whoever the backup quarterback for the New York Jets will be this week, and they'll win because it'll be the backup for the New York Jets. So I got Jacksonville. I'm so out on the Jets. We don't need to spend any time talking about two bad teams, but who you got in this one?
I'm also going to go with Jacksonville. These are two bad teams. I mentioned about the Bills messing it up, two special teams plays, and the expectations for the Bills are different from the Jets. But the Jets, just a couple of just stupid like mistakes like that playing Madden would all right, this is what we have to do. Going out of bounds, if you don't go out of bounds, there was a weird timeout call. They easily could have got the time down, and instead they leave too much time on the clock, and then Miami comes down and scores to send it into overtime. Just simple things. So I just don't like that the Jets did that. But these are two bad teams. They're not going to be on red zone very often. But you got to pick somebody, so I'll go Jacksonville at home.
Yeah, I'm really exhausted of the analysis of all these terrible football teams. I don't need to hear Cowboy analysis. I don't even hear Jets analysis. It's over. It's over. Talk about it next year. Tell me what they're going to be doing next year, because no one seems to be want to bring that up. It's all, well, what do they get right about this year? This year's over. What are we doing next year? Fix it.
Not even like you're calling it over maybe ahead of time. Like mathematically, they're missing the playoffs. It's over.
Eliminated. Next game, Miami Dolphins at the Houston Texans. A nice win for Miami, even though we just trashed the Jets. It was nice to see a Tyreek Hill. Maybe we could wake Waddle up a little bit here and get this defense going. I'm not in love with this Houston team. I think this is another 8-5 record that I don't think truly reflects a very strong 8-5 team. I think there's some blood in the water and a little vulnerability here. I'm going to go with Miami on the road. I liked what I saw last week. If Tua continues to stay healthy, I think they'll have a chance. The turnovers for Houston have been brutal, and even the games they won, they probably could have lost. And I think this is one of them where if they have too many turnovers like he's had the last couple of weeks, I don't think Houston's going to win. I got Miami this one. Who you got?
I think Miami's got a chance because it's down in Houston, so it's not going to be super cold. I share your concerns with the Texans, and maybe they're a little bit of fool's gold, but Miami has actually had real problems, and I think that the Texans can handle Miami, and that they will get the win. So I'm going with the Texans.
Man, he's going to spin some good records today. All right, you're not ready. The Houston's they're not ready for the DJ. Next game, Indianapolis Colts at the Denver Broncos. And not much to really say about either of these teams. This is the middle pack road of, are we going to be good or are we going to be tanking? I don't know. It's obviously a bright side of seeing Bo Nix, a rookie over there, having success with the Denver Broncos. But is that an 8-5 team and actually 8-5, or are they basically a 6-7 Indianapolis Colts team? What do you think here? Are these teams more looking eye to eye, or is actually one actually better than another?
I think that the Broncos are better. Not probably a ton better, but they're at home, and I think Bo Nix is still figuring it out. But he throws some lasers. He was on national TV last week. I think it was Monday night, and it was just fun. He's probably throwing it way too hard, but at least throwing it down the field. I think a lot of these quarterbacks, it's just dink and dunk, and it can kind of get a little boring, and it's almost like a Jameis Winston, where you're not sure if it's going to be a touchdown or if it's going to be a pick six the other way, but it's for sure exciting when you don't really have a rooting interest. So yeah, give me Bo and give me the Broncos.
Should Indianapolis be doing anything differently, or is this a Bryce Young situation where just leave him in there, Richardson? Let's just see what else we can do. I mean, are we?
You got to leave him in.
Are we trending in the right direction though?
Who are you going to put in that is going to play better?
No. I mean, nobody on the team. I guess. All right. It's not like they're aiming for the playoffs anyways. And if he continues to struggle, they just get a better draft pick. So I guess you're fine. At least with Bryce and some of these, like Bryce played in a close game last week, and I know he wasn't perfect. They definitely made some mistakes, but I thought that was real experience. I thought I was like, oh, I'm watching this guy get better, and I don't think the Colts are in games enough, or that I've seen Richardson be in games enough that he's actually getting improvement. I feel like he's playing in these meaningless blowout games that, like, what's the most important snap he's played in the NFL? Like, what's the tight game? I don't know. I'd like to see more of that. I don't think he has an opportunity to do that, and I don't know if that's against him or the team.
I I just don't think that they're really going to make any noise in the playoffs. And you got to give the guy reps. I think you tried putting the old man in there, and that was fun for a little bit and worked last year for the Browns, but like that was never the future. And so, like, what are you gonna do? Like, you gotta keep putting him out there and see what does he have, and is he getting better? Is he developing? Is he getting better in practice?
Well, maybe he'll come out this week. This is a good matchup for him, hopefully. Our next game, Buffalo Bills at the Detroit Lions. I mean, zero defense for Buffalo. Just basically lose by giving up one special teams mistake after another. Detroit, on the other hand, this should be a big game here. Took care of business against the Green Bay Packers. I mean, Green Bay's just a solid team. They don't play down to other teams' level. But, let's just see some points. I want to see this game just light up the scoreboard again. Let's see Buffalo 42. Let's see Detroit with 40 plus. I hope this is a really fun game. I think Buffalo's going to get right with this game. I think they're just going to be watching film with that Rams game, being like, I can't believe we lost this game. And hopefully just come out ready to prove another big win against a good team here in Detroit. Detroit's been coasting a little bit for some of these past weeks. I don't think they've looked perfect. They continue to just score a lot, but this is a real game against a real playoff team that's actually had playoff success recently. So I'm going with Buffalo. I think they got a little bit more experience. They might not be the better team, but I think they got that experience. Who you got this week?
I'm going to go with the Lions at home. I think this is going to be a really fun matchup. I don't know if it'll be quite as much scoring as you're hoping for, but I think these are two teams that shouldn't make mistakes. I know Buffalo did last week, but got to clean up the special teams. And where some of these other games I've said, oh, this is going to be on red zone. Like, how do we hide these? This is going to be what you should focus on. Put this one on, ignore the other ones.
Yeah, this might get its own screen. I might not turn this game off. This might just be side screen with red zone.
If it wasn't for the Chiefs, being two-time Super Bowl champions, having Mahomes, and also seeming to have black magic, I could easily see this being a preview of the Super Bowl.
Wow. Look at that NFL script writing. All right, next game, Pittsburgh Steelers at the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, this is the frustrating Pittsburgh team that's like, I don't love this, and then every time I try to pick them, I'm like, no, I don't like this. This doesn't feel good. And then they win again. They just continue to win again. They have 10 wins. Philly has 11. I don't think these teams should ever look each other eye to eye, but go ahead, man. You got any argument for Pittsburgh? I mean, is this just going to be another time they just beat another good team?
I don't know how they keep doing it. I mean, not that the Browns were a very good team, but I think the Eagles, unlike last year, where I think they have the same record, but last year started off, with 11 wins, and someone they lost to, it was, oh man, we lost 2 in a row, where now where it's spread out, it just seems better. But I think that the Eagles are playing in a way that they're trying to start prepping for the playoffs. I can't remember the exact percentage, but something like when they take the lead, they throw it the least amount of time by a significant margin, where it's, hey, we're not trying to run up the score. We're just trying to get wins, get in, get out. Don't love AJ Brown's comments, especially after you're winning and things seem to be going well. That just seems counterintuitive. But again, it's Russell Wilson. They weren't even starting him at the beginning of the year, and they're just putting wins together. But I don't see them making any sort of noise in the playoffs. The Eagles are a legitimate good team, and sooner or later, the Steelers have to start losing these games.
I'm not sure they are. You asked me, all right, Pittsburgh played Cleveland, not a great team. Eagles played Carolina, not a great team. We've kind of talked about those teams enough, but I thought Russ was a better quarterback than Hurts last week. Is that they look good? The Pittsburgh offense, the deep ball, the plays, guys are open. The Philly thing, it's just like, oh wow, another weapon. Just put the ball in this guy's hands. It's fine. It's great. They got all those things. It feels like Russ has a lot more to do with the success of Pittsburgh than Hurts does with Philly.
I'm fine with that.
That shouldn't be fine. I'm not. That should be wrong with everything we know about the NFL based on everything in the last 10 years. It's just I don't want to live in the world where somehow that's true. Versus last year, this guy was going to be cutting out of the league.
It's an amazing comeback.
I'm still not picking him. It's gonna kill me. It's gonna kill me because I'm gonna bet on him and be like, I can't believe I bet on Russ for all those reasons. So I'm going with Philly. But come next week when Pittsburgh takes care of business and they're all waving the dirty towels, yelling, "I told you so!" Oh my God, I'm gonna be haunted by it. Who you got?
I'm going with the Eagles.
Yeah,
it's Hurts versus Russell Wilson, old Russell Wilson.
They find a way. They do something that every other team can't do is just stay in games, and then at the end when you make one mistake, it's like, nope, we got you. You blinked first. And then they take that tiny little advantage and win by some smaller margin. All right, next game. New England Patriots at the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, we could talk Drake May all day, but I don't want to talk it. It's fine. We're going to lose this game. We hate the Cardinals. Are we betting against the Cardinals? What are we doing? I mean, they're not serious people either, but they at least have a chance to continue the season on with some sort of effort to get to the playoffs. The Patriots have nothing to play for. Who you got in this one?
I lost my bet last week. I had Dolphins -6.5. They won by 6, so that was not enough. So I lost. So I'm trying to get back to the basics. I'm going back to what I know. I will be betting the Patriots Cardinals under 46.5. I think other teams come off of the bye and they're revitalized and maybe they got some new plays. I don't trust the coach. I don't think that we are going to be revitalized. I think we're going to be making the same mistakes, and I don't think that we're going to score. So I'm going with the under.
Yeah. I mean, Arizona comes out hot that last game against the Seahawks here. I mean, it was at first couple plays, deep ball to Wilson. Awesome. It seems like, oh, man, Kyler's cooking today. And then it was interception. And then it was another interception. And then it just seemed like nothing could get on track for Arizona at all.
I told you not to pick them.
The Patriots are going to gift them some turnovers here. Kyler's going to get some really good field position. It's just going to happen. And I think it'll be enough to get a win here. I don't like it. I've picked the Patriots enough weeks that this should be the week that I want to do it. And you have the rule. Don't pick Arizona. But I just think this team is on a losing streak, and they probably shouldn't be as bad as I truly think they are. I got Arizona. Lock it in. Doesn't feel good.
Yep, I'm going with Arizona too.
Belichick would win this game.
We'll get to him.
Next game, Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Los Angeles Chargers. I mean, Tampa Bay's in control of the division. I don't think this is something you should be proud of to share with anyone, but you know they're there. They did it. The boring Chargers team continues to be a very middle pack as well. They're probably going to win that game with Ladd McConkey. Is that crazy to say? You're right with me saying that?
I don't know.
I thought the offense looked rough. I mean, Palmer did what he could, but if Ladd's out there, it's like they at least have somebody with a big play threat. McConkey's been good. I feel like they're one play away.
I turn a loss into a win just if he was playing.
2 points.
Still the Chargers.
It's 2 points. Oh no, don't do that. That was not a Chargers loss. That was a Kansas City Magic, as you said earlier.
Oh yeah, I just mean in general. No, that was yeah.
Well, if they are going to charge you, this is the week.
The Chargers version would have been the exact reverse, but when they doinked it out and not doinked it in.
Well, they're going to doink it in or out this week.
I will not be picking the Chargers this week.
Oh.
I am going with the Buccaneers.
Spicy. Let's
make it happen. I think that the Chargers, you get beat by the Chiefs, you're still thinking about it. It's hard to focus, and they're going to come and you have practice and you're still thinking how did we lose that game? It hit off of the goalpost. How did we lose? And I think Baker, I think he's going to be ready to go. And I'm liking Baker this year. So
I love Baker.
Give me the Bucs.
Love Baker. I wish I had the balls to continue with that. The Tampa is exactly what I thought they were. They're up, they're down, they're not consistent. This Charger team, I think, is a little bit more consistent, even if it's not quite the same exciting threat that you see out of Baker some of these weeks. But I think they're just a better football team. You're going to see the difference this week of what like a actually professional coach team is like versus whatever Tampa Bay's got thrown out there. Baker's just wild out there. Give me a steadier hand with the Chargers.
Yeah. Very wild.
Next game, Green Bay Packers at the Seattle Seahawks. I mean, Green Bay competed against Detroit. So your opinion of Detroit, whatever. They didn't lay down. They didn't get blown out. They were very much in that. I don't think there was a world where we were going to say they're as good as Detroit, but they at least look good against that. Seattle, I don't think is nearly as good as Detroit. So I'm hoping Green Bay plays exactly like they did last week, and they shouldn't have any problems taking care of Seattle this week. Seattle played Arizona. Kind of already talked about how they're struggling. But I think it's a big test for both these teams. I think it's going to shape my opinion of both of them based exactly how this outcome comes. I'm going with Green Bay. Who you got?
I'm also going to go with Green Bay. I know they had the loss to the Lions, but played them close Thursday night. Destroyed, or I guess they didn't destroy the Bears the week before, but the Bears were just weird. But I think that they're going to be better than the Seahawks, even playing at Seattle. But I think that what Green Bay's got going, I think Seattle has just been able to take advantage of worse teams. But once they actually have to go against somebody that's actually good, I don't think they're going to be able to pull it off.
All right, next game, Chicago Bears at the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, if you're the Bears, just take a deep breath. You have Caleb Williams. You're going to get another draft pick. Like this is fine. It wasn't the dream season you thought it was going to be, but you got to get over that. That's sale that you got to start working on just getting better. Hopefully they can get better this week, and hopefully they can get a lot better because they got destroyed by San Francisco, and they're playing a smoking hot Vikings offense with Darnold just fuego offense, just slinging it all over the place to the point where I'm hearing rumors now of like, should we trade J.J. McCarthy? He hasn't even played a snap, and we're already like, ship him out, get rid of him. Don't need nothing with this. I think that's insane, but there's no way the Bears win this week. That's going to be the insane reality. I got the Vikings. Who you got this week?
I'm also going to go with the Vikings. If I had told you before the season, hey, Sam Darnold is going to throw 5 touchdowns, how many games do you think that would have taken him?
I would have been like, what teams he play for? I wouldn't even thought he was in the league. I would have been like, is he a backup for a team? I don't know. Maybe he gets in there for 1 rushing touchdown. I don't know.
And here he is throwing 5 touchdowns in 1 game.
And nice
That's
ones.
so many touchdowns.
Nice plays. Very efficient.
It's
clean.
Huge surprise out of him. Huge surprise out of him this year, especially with J.J. McCarthy getting hurt in the offseason. Was kind of thought, all right, Darnold will probably start, kind of like we did with Drake May. Of all right, well, we're not gonna start the rookie right away, but we'll have the veteran go if we're close. If there's success, we'll keep him in, but there's not gonna be success. So just 4 or 6 weeks in, we'll put the rookie in. We'll see what we got for next year. And boy, was that wrong. Darnold is slinging it all over the place, and I just don't trust the Falcons. But this was not even close. You double them up. That's a confident win.
They're going to get another big win for Minnesota here. They're assuming they beat Chicago. They're going to have 12 wins. They'll be 12-2, and I'll start really buying into this team, feeling like a 12-2 team. The defense has got to play a little bit better. It was good at the beginning of the year. I'd be interested to see what they do against a rookie quarterback in the Bears, and if they just take advantage of that for an entire game. Let alone their offense is scoring all over the place. I'd like to see their defense play a little bit better. All right, last game here. Atlanta Falcons at the Las Vegas Raiders. Atlanta is just foolish. I don't trust this team at all. This is starting to turn to that Arizona thing for me that you have, where it's like, I don't want anything to do with this team. But is this the week where it's like, what do you like about the other team? What do you like about the Raiders that's so over-convincing that you have to pick them? Is there anything?
See, I don't want to do it.
I don't want to do it either.
I don't want to pick the Falcons, but they at least have their quarterback. The Raiders are already down to Aiden O'Connell, who he got hurt this week. So now it's going to be
Ritter.
We got Desmond Ritter, who he was on the Falcons last year, and they got rid of him because he was so bad. So I don't see a way where the Raiders on their third QB are going to be able to get anything done here. I know, Kurt has just very much been struggling. The homecoming was not enjoyable for him last week, but I will pick him over Desmond Ritter because I saw Ritter play last year, and there's nothing there.
You have to pick him over Desmond Ritter.
You have to.
You have to. I got him as well. I don't feel great about it. Well, what do you got for the score of this game? For the total points for the tiebreaker?
The total, I got 44.
Oof, I put 22. Skip your Monday night next week, guys. It's not gonna. What do you think? Do you think Ritter's going to score more? Or you think that the Kirk is just going to get completely right after last week?
I think there's going to be some pick sixes involved, some fast points.
Oh boy, yeah, maybe. All right, yeah, you want to factor those in. All right, I got 22 defensive points. That's what I got. No,
yeah.
All right, those are our picks. NFL. Just we're getting closer, getting colder out there. Playoff time's almost here, but for now, we have college football. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't do our NFL bets of the week. What did you have?
Mine was the Patriots Cardinals under 46.5 at -115.
And I got Buffalo money line over Detroit plus 112. Plus money for Buffalo. I'll take it on the road. It might even be more. After Detroit scores first, I'd double down even more on this. All right, those are our NFL bets of the week and our picks as well. We do have a college playoff to talk about. The bracket is out. We have 12 teams in. We had a very exciting championship week with some dramatic outcomes. What do you want to recap last week first?
Sure. All the games were projected to be close. That was not necessarily the case. just to like go over it real quick. Boise State took care of business on Friday night. Same with Army. Penn State hung around with Oregon. I think my expectation was that Oregon was going to be just a little too far away. Georgia got the upset on Texas. That one was close, in overtime. And Clemson, close one over SMU. And then Arizona State just laid the beat down on Iowa State.
So everything's set. We know the 12. We know the schedule. We'll probably make picks next podcast. How about we do that and just kind of discuss more or less where everything kind of fell out and whether or not this was good? Was this bad? Was this better? What are your initial thoughts on the release of the 12? I'll announce them in a second here, but how do you think we did?
Thought it was interesting. I thought for sure that Alabama was going to sneak in. Just it seems like every year, this is the first year with 12, but when it was 4, it was for any reason. If you weren't sure, it seemed like, well, let's just put Alabama in there. They have the history. They're going to be good. It's going to be fine. Very surprised. Boise State did get the big win on Friday in their championship game, but them being at 3. So they're going to get a bye. And not just the bye part of it is that means that if this was the traditional, what they've been doing for quite a few years now, if it was just 4, that Boise State would be the top 4. And I just don't think if it was just a 4-team playoff, I don't think that Boise State would have been 4. Only one loss was to Oregon, was reasonable. They did play other ranked teams. I don't want to go through like every team's resume and point out this and that, but just surprised that that's where they fell out. I thought they were going to be for sure with a win. They were definitely going to be in the playoff. I think even with a loss, to a ranked team, it's 2 losses. It would have been close, but would have thought they stayed in. But I think that's my biggest surprise out of this is that they're getting a bye.
I don't think I agree with the seedings. I don't really have a problem with the collection of the 12. But then I looked at the schedule and I was like, right, there might have been a right way to do this, and there might be what we ended up with. And what we ended up with I think is some really, really good games. I like the matchups. I like the potential matchups too. I also think it just sets up a little way to, you're never going to please everybody with this sort of thing, but like we got our favorites, all right? Oregon and Georgia are in. We can relax, all right? We got some good ones in here, all right? And then we allowed Boise State to sneak in, and it's always like a fringe. They're not one of the top 4s, blah, blah, blah. They're in. Who cares, all right? We get to see it. There's a million ways we could have done this. We're going to get to see them play in a big game that they generally would have never been in. And every other one of these teams is going to have a chance to just put them in their place. And I kind of like that. Ohio State very much still being alive here. They get to play Tennessee. That's going to be a great game. Like, how awesome are these first round games here? You got a favorite out of them? We're going to have, I'll read them. I got Friday, we got number 10 Indiana at number 7 Notre Dame. The winner of that will play number 2 Georgia. Then Saturday, you got number 11 SMU at number 6 Penn State. And the winner of that will be playing Boise State. And then later Saturday, you'll have number 12 Clemson at number 5 Texas. And the winner of that will be playing the Arizona State. And then last one Saturday, number 9 Tennessee at number 8 Ohio State. And the winner of that will play number 1 Oregon. I thought we did pretty good. I think these are good matchups. Like, are you not excited for these games? We'll only get 4 of these normally in the scenario, right?
It would have not just 4 games. It would have been only 4 teams.
2 games with 4 teams. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah. So we get way more games, and it's going to be a week before than they normally would to get these initial ones in. So yeah, more football. I'm definitely in all the ranked teams. Yeah, and I think if I were to pick one, I think they're the one you mentioned. I think the Tennessee Ohio State. I think that's one to kind of earmark.
I'm kind of hoping the outcomes of all these games are just so crazy and wild that everyone will just forget the who's in, who's out, and just say awesome games. How awesome is college football? Because
we expanded it. We expanded it from 4 to 12. That means 8 more teams are getting in than would have got in before. When it was 4, I feel like a lot of times it was, like Florida State last year. You were making the argument and all right, well, which win was better? Which loss was a worse loss? You're not in the top 12. All right, you can whine about it, but you for sure weren't going to make the top 4. So you got to play better. Alabama has been making excuses, talking about how they got to look at their non-conference schedule and did that. Not really. It would help. Play tougher teams. That'll probably help. But you know what really helps? Not losing 3 times. Then you'd be in. The committee would love to put you in, but 3 losses, that's too many.
I think we'll have a 3-loss team eventually.
Well, Clemson is in, but
they
won their tournament, so or their conference championship, so it's a little bit different.
A little bit different, but I do think there will be a year where the resume that Alabama has this year will get in, and it'll just be that like
I think they were right on the fringe.
Well, I just think that'll be the year that like Boise doesn't go undefeated or something, and that team just doesn't have that argument. We're not always going to have that team that just wins and doesn't really it has like one big game. I mean, I guess that's a bad example of this, but you know what I mean. There's always like that undefeated team that's just marching along the whole way, and maybe doesn't have the same strength of schedule.
The argument there could be Indiana.
I didn't want to
one loss, but the whole argument has been that they haven't played anybody tough.
Yeah. And I think that there is an argument that they could be out, but it's also that this is the first year of all this. I feel like they tried to script this to the point where it was like, look, we got Indiana in here. Boise's a high seed. We gave underdogs some credit. We still got the big dogs in here, and they got to battle it out through each other to see how it all works out. And that's kind of what we all wanted. You know, we were all arguing the resume of one or all of another, of who's better and who's all that. I think we have enough opportunity to see the games and just let those decide who's better now. And that's exciting part.
No, we're going to decide it on the field, not in the boardroom.
All right, can't wait for that. We'll do picks on those next week because those games aren't till December 20th to kick off. So next Friday. For now, let's do some college basketball where I think I have some new favorite teams, and I think I have a new best team in the country. I actually think I saw the 2 best teams playing in the country against each other this past week.
Whoa. What do you got?
It's not Duke and Auburn. I thought Kentucky and Gonzaga played really well. I thought that was an awesome game. I think both of these teams, I know they're both high ranked, so I'm not really knocking anyone or saying they're like some crazy underdog. They're properly ranked. I just think that these are 2 really, really good teams that played really well against each other and could have seen either team winning that game. I like the way they play as a team. I like the weapons they have, and they seem a little bit more together than some of the teams. I think Duke would be right there with them, though. I think they've looked very well. And even Auburn, you guys took care of business against them. I don't think that was that bad. But ultimately, does this just all just boil down to the SEC is just really good? Is that what I'm getting at here?
The SEC is very good. New AP poll came out today. There was a lot of chaos last week, a lot of losses. Actually, both teams that or not both teams, but Kentucky and Auburn both lost. But even despite that, there's still 2 of the 5 that are in the top 10 of the AP poll. To give you a comparison, only 2 ACC teams are in the top 25 at all. They had the SEC ACC challenge, and the SEC won 14-2. The ACC has been struggling it's coming up like kind of like post-COVID, where for a long time the ACC would have been the top, or at least in the mix, or you could make the argument for the top conference. And the way the conferences have changed around, it's not even close. They're more down 4 or 5. There's some bad teams that really break down. And then even if you look at the SEC, it's weird, but they're both deep and top heavy. You got Tennessee and Auburn up at the top. Kentucky's not that far away. But then even if you look at the quote bad teams, they're not at the 150s. They're still, I think, like top 100 in the in KenPom. So still, even if you're one of these top teams, when you got to go on the road and play them, it's not going to be a gimme. So I think there's definitely going to be some cannibalization that happens, but I think coming in, starting off this high, it's going to help you out. I think they're going to get a lot of teams into the tournament, and I think it's going to be real tough for Duke and the ACC, because I know for sure Duke is not going to go undefeated in conference play, and so any loss is going to turn into a bad loss. It's going to be good for that team because beat a pretty good Duke team. We saw them in the non-conference, but yeah, ACC, and there was talk about this in the offseason of, hey, ACC, you need to play a tougher schedule, non-conference. You need to show that you're good, but they did not. And it wasn't just even losses. There were not very many close games. There were some really big blowouts.
Since 2004, every national champ was a top 12 team in the Week 6 AP poll. So the top 12, if you want to entirely judge it off this, one of the top 12 of this week will win the national championship.
I guess the main one that's not in there would be UConn, right?
Yeah, well, the philosophy behind it is that like 95% of the major non-conference games have already happened.
Mm-hmm.
So like there's
like a Duke on yesterday played their first conference game. They still play a couple of non-conference games, but the majority are out of the way. But you got to imagine it's the same for most teams.
So at least for now, it's going to be like who's able to win the crown of the SEC as they continue to beat the hell out of each other. And then we're not really going to know whether or not we should put all of those teams ahead of these other teams because they're not going to play a lot of these out of conference stuff going forward. So it'll be interesting. I don't know if we're in a good place. I don't entirely agree with it. Like I said, I really like Kentucky. I really like a lot of these SEC teams, and there's not a whole bunch. I mean, there are some in the top 12 here, but yeah, I don't know. I think we could have some more by the end of the year. All right.
Did you know what I happened to notice in the AP poll today?
I don't want to. You're gonna curse me. Don't make me say it. You say it. Go ahead.
Michigan State. They're in the top 25 now.
Yeah, I saw that. I guess we could share this story. The other day, you asked me how I get my sports scores, and I'm super lazy and just have bookmarks of Google pages of like Google NBA scores, and then Michigan State has been outside of the top 12. So anytime I Google like NCAA basketball scores, their game isn't on there. So I had to create their own shortcut. Just they were outside the top 25 because I couldn't see their score, but I would just hit that shortcut. So they're in now. Should I delete the shortcut? Do you think we're a safe bet? Because I got a feeling I should keep it.
I think you should definitely keep it.
Yeah, I think I should definitely keep it too. I don't think we're like a lock for a top 25 team, but I do think we're a tournament team, and that's really all I ever want to be. I just want a chance to get in. That's where Michigan State is entirely built off. Just getting in, figure it out. Yeah, we'll upset you. All right, anything else you want to get to with college basketball?
Yes. So last week, there was a premier game every day of the week. That is not the case this week, but we do have a pretty stellar lineup come Saturday. If you are not really looking to leave the house and you're wondering, hey, there's no college football, there's no NFL on Saturday, what am I going to do? I got the hookup for you. So we do have one Thursday night, Iowa State at Iowa. That's going to be good. But then Saturday, starting at noon, Texas A&M versus Purdue. Then at 3, UCLA, just coming off of their big win at Oregon, almost a buzzer beater, banked in with .1 left, crazy ending. Saturday, 5:30, Tennessee at Illinois. Tennessee, the new number 1 in the country. At 7, Marquette at Dayton, and then another Saturday primetime Gonzaga game, Gonzaga versus UConn. That will be at MSG. That place is going to be filled with UConn fans. It is not technically a home game, but I got to imagine that's going to be considered at least a semi-home game.
Big week. Take care of business now. This is where we should be in rhythm. The injuries, I'm sure, are adding up, but for the most part, teams should know their rotations. I can start tricking people with zones anytime now. I'm ready. I'm ready for college basketball. I'm excited for March Madness. We got to talk a little NBA before we get to all that. So we have an Emirates Cup. The NBA Emirates Cup is been set. The bracket is set. We'll have the quarterfinals on Tuesday. We've got 2 games and 4 teams going on Tuesday and Wednesday night. On Tuesday, we'll have the first seed Bucks versus the 4 seed Magic. Who would have thought the Bucks would be the healthier team? How wild is that? After that, we have the 1 seed Thunder. On Tuesday, we have the 1 seed Thunder versus the 4 seed Mavericks. That's a nice matchup. I mean, this is what we wanted, right? We wanted to care about the regular season. This is a big matchup that matters slightly more. Bragging rights. Then Wednesday, we'll have 2 seed Knicks versus the 3 seed Hawks. Trey in New York City. That should be fun. And we have the 2 seed Rockets versus the 3 seed Warriors. Kind of a youth versus classic. I'm happy with the matchups. I mean, I know you're going to be all, upset that the Celtics aren't in this, but I thought we got some decent matchups. Are you intrigued for the Emirates Cup?
I will see your question, and I will hammer you right back with another question. Is the NBA Cup broken already? Because 3 out of the top 4 teams in the NBA are not playing in this.
I think that's the point. We'll see those teams later. You want to see these teams on national TV. This is the only way Indiana could get a national game last year. So
do we need to watch more Trae Young on national TV? Is that what we need?
Maybe against New York.
Well,
it's slightly better. It's slightly better against New York.
I think New York's going to bring it for Trae Young. I hope Trae Young brings it as well.
Well, yeah, that's the fun part about this. Yeah, all right, look, these aren't perfect. I mean, they are random group play matchups here. You're lucky we got any good matchups. I thought we got a couple. If the Orlando was healthy, that'd be fun. The Thunder and Mavericks are mostly healthy. And what if Trae just goes nuts against them? I mean, all right,
it's for sure possible, but here is also the problem, and this is actually really good for me and you, is we lost once to the Hawks. Yeah. it was at their place, or it was actually I think I don't remember where it was, but we should have won. It was the Hawks. We're better than the Hawks. We should have beat them, but we didn't. All right, so we're 3-1. We tie with them. We lose the tiebreaker. Okay, so 1-3, lost one, and now our in quotes penalty. Now that we don't have to play one of these other, they're not the. It's not it's not the Cavs, and it won't be the Grizzlies, but these are decent teams. They're not the bottom. Now our penalty for that is we have games against the Pistons and the Wizards. Pistons have been playing tough. I think they'll play us tough, but the Wizards, they finally got a win recently, but they're at the very bottom of the league. So I got to imagine some other teams are probably pretty upset about this. Like, wait a minute. The Celtics don't have to play the Knicks or the Bucks again. They just get to play the Pistons and the Wizards, and there's it's all spread out. So what do we play? We play like 2 games in like the next 7 days. It might even be 1 game in the next 7 days. The way it works out, it's kind of goofy.
Who was the first person to figure this out? Brad Stevens or Joe Mazzulla?
Brad.
He knew this was a possibility. There's no way. We definitely tried to get in. Let's not act like we didn't.
No, we lost.
Right.
I'm
no
not
way
going to come out and say that we tanked against the Hawks. I just don't think that the guys, at least the coaching and the ownership, is really upset about this.
Why should they be? This is like Tatum getting benched for the Olympics. Just take it easy. Just rest, bud. Real games are coming up. We're only in December.
I just saw something recently. Speaking of Jason Tatum is the active player who averages the most games played in a season.
That's great. That's why he's probably your favorite Celtic in most people's. He plays games.
He plays all the games. He just missed his first one. He was looking like he was, we had like 5 and 7 days or something crazy. We were playing a lot, and they gave him a break. I think it was smart. First one he set all year, and I think a lot of times he tries to talk his way into it. And I think this time Mazzulla had to say, "Hey, just take a break. Take a break. Come back stronger."
Well, some of the other guys have had their, I'm not going to say break, but they will have their nitpicky injuries, days off, I'll say. And it was only right, since he'd be carrying a little bit more of a workload on their days off, that he would get a day off. And it's fine. We're going to be all right. We got good depth. Porzingis is back already. Al Horford.
We're only a game and a half. Yeah, Porzingis is back already. We're a game and a half out of first.
And Al Horford is still healthy. How is Horford still going? Go back and look at that draft class. How is he still even a relevant player still?
Third highest point differential. We're in good shape.
All right, I won't make you do any picks of the Emirates Cup. It doesn't sound like you're into it. So let's talk some other NBA news. We just saw Ja Morant against the Celtics recently, and I think he kind of drew some headlines saying, "I'm done dunking. No more dunking." And then not even less than 24 hours later against the Celtics, he has this wild up and under 2-handed dunk. Now, it was just kind of a light dunk. It wasn't a hammer. I'll give him credit for that. It wasn't a hammer dunk, but God damn, if the risk is blowing out your knee on the jump, it's you definitely jumped just the same amount. What do you think?
It was a weird comment. I get overall of, hey, this is where guys have injured themselves in the past. I'm concerned about winning championships. I'm concerned about longevity. So I kind of get that. But part of it too is you're in your 20s and you're supposed to kind of do dumb stuff. And this is even he's had problems at doing actual dumb stuff, but this is just dunking. This is part of basketball. So to come out and just be all adult and I'm not going to dunk anymore. No, I don't even want to dunk anymore. Just, it was so lame. Like I said, I get it. It was way too adult. I would prefer if he came out and said, "I'm going to try to dunk on everybody." And then it was immediately afterwards, he was a liar. He dunked all over the Celtics. It was a nasty dunk.
What if Ja is just trolling all of us in so many different ways? Right? Do we not all just spend the whole past couple of years being can Ja just mature a little bit? And this was him just playing with all of us, being like, "You want to see maturity?
Oh, you want to see mature? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be real mature in the press conference with the microphone in front of me, but I'm going to be that little kid out there on the court, no problem." Which is fine. That's what he should be. That's really all they're asking from him. It's just, don't be that. You could be whoever you want on the court, but tone it back a little bit off the court, and then in front, you get a microphone in front of you. Just say the boring thing every time. It's fine. And he's never gonna get in trouble for the dunking comments like this. He's gonna get in trouble for all the other talk.
It's not the talk. It's assaulting a minor, and it's doing having a gun with you. Just it's serious stuff. Just don't do that. Just play basketball. You'll be fine.
Well, not a real good way to transition to all this, but we talked previously on a previous podcast about the Woj kind of career readjustment where he was Adrian Wojnarowski, used to be ESPN insider, a huge NBA insider, knew everything. Woj bomb was the whole Twitter thing of any news that ever broke was coming from Woj. Changed his career path where he basically quit all of that and then took on a job at the GM for the St. Bonnie's.
Yeah. Yep. I guess he's living above a bar, like on campus. He said it gets pretty wild on the weekend.
The story with him, the more I get to know him, the more I realize I don't know him or anything about him enough. I just assume he's this boring, buttoned-up guy that just gets news nonstop. But it's like, yeah, but the guy that gets stories nonstop also just knows everything. So the more I find out from him, he just seems to be a way more interesting guy. But unfortunately, with all of this fun media tour he's kind of been doing, another information came out that he's been recently diagnosed with cancer, and apparently that was major adjustment to all the decisions and that he kind of ended up making. So sounds like he's doing all right, but it's still an uphill battle. And I think this kind of all makes sense now, but I don't really know what to say about it. I think he made the right choice. I mean, he's gonna have more time with the people he wants to have time with. So just news I couldn't move over. So I thought I'd bring it up. I mean, we all like Woj. You just talked about a couple fun stories here, and we all hope it's a good recovery and that this works out for him.
I was surprised that it didn't come out just at the same time, because this, it came out, the diagnosis was in March, so that was 6 months before he had decided, hey, I'm not going to do this anymore. And even before the cancer news came out, we said, hey, he's been doing this for a long time. If he doesn't want to do this anymore, like, it'll be fine. Like I said, oh no, we might find out this stuff 20 minutes later when the team announces it. Like, I think we're going to be fine. It seems the job's a little superfluous, but he did a great job. But just surprised that it stayed hidden for so long. Just would have thought he would have scooped himself. So yeah, hopefully that that he continues to fight. I know last week was Jimmy V week, so I always watch that Jim Valvano's speech at the ESPYs. I think it's always very, very moving, and it's always a good opportunity to if you want to make a charitable donation. But I like how the ESPN, it's always like during some big matchups, and I think they do a good job with it.
Yeah, we like Woj, and maybe the St. Bonnie's will make some noise this year. I mean, who knows? I have no reason to believe he'll be bad at his job. For all we know, he's going to be crushing it over there. All right, let's get out of here. Let's talk a little baseball. Do you want to talk the victory for the Red Sox or the loss for the Yankees?
I don't think that it was a win for the Red Sox at all.
Come on, if it was a loss for the Yankees, it is not an automatic win for the Red Sox. I mean, we were a real owner over here. We tried to put real money down on there. We almost got Soto.
I heard there are pictures of him in Boston.
Yeah, I heard that all Boston did was try to make it look like they were going to get Juan Soto, which they had no chance at all. They had no chance at all of getting all this, but they wanted the fan base to think that, oh, no, the Red Sox aren't cheap. Well, we're gonna get Soto. We're gonna do it. He's here. We're gonna offer him money. I think we offered him like 9. Ends up signing for 16. Yeah, we were right 15. There. Oh yeah, we were right there. We were willing to give him the whole thing. We were right there. Is this too long of a contract? Because I remember with the 10-year thing thinking like I didn't want to commit to anything for 10 years. I can't believe we were going to commit to this podcast for 10 years, but 16 years. I don't know,
15.
Man.
It's only 15. The Yankees offered him 16. He said no.
Oh, is that what it is? See, it was a loss for you guys.
Yeah, we actually made him a real offer, but it wasn't quite as good as the Mets deal. Yeah, it's just crazy how in basketball they had to make rules to protect the owners from themselves. But with baseball, there's no salary cap. They do have a luxury tax, but you could spend a whole lot more money if you want to. This is a great case. Yeah, so 15 years, $765 million. It is the largest sports contract of all time. Like I said, 15 years. And the NBA, you have 4, maybe you go to 5 if you're on your own team. So this is 3 times as long. I mean, unless something happens, like this is going to be the rest of his career. He's 26 now. So when this ends, he's going to be in his 40s. So yeah, those numbers at the end might not be so good, but if sports continues in this direction, I think it's not going to be too long. This is going to look like a deal, and which is crazy because he's making more than Aaron Judge and Mookie Betts combined. Dude, so crazy number. I was hoping he was going to sign again with the Yankees. Playing the Bronx, everything's very expensive there. I thought, hey, open the purse up. I liked. We only had him for part of a year, but I thought that it was good. Would like to have him around for longer, but now he could deal with the Mets and the Mets curse, and we'll see how that works out for him.
Well, we'll see. An exciting season. I don't think he's gonna still be with the Mets he's not gonna last long enough with the Mets to the point where it's a deal, as you said. I don't think he's there in 10 years. Someone else will have the deal.
Because he got traded?
Yeah. Or just because he wants out of the Mets, and the Mets are a complete disaster. He's like, even I can't fix this. All right, we'll be back.
It'll be interesting.
Less
15 years, a long
talk.
time.
We'll be back with less baseball talk, but this was a fun one. Playoffs are here, and we'll get some ski stories. We didn't even talk about Zach's birthday. We had a good time. He's a wild man, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Hockey game. Who would have thought?
Amateurs. Let's see the fights. We'll be back.
Little column A, little column B.